Why, hello there, this is Jason from Spooky Cocker. I'm going alone for just right now for a quick recap of A Moon Knight Episode 4, The Tomb. Now, spoilers ahead. This is just a quick recap. Lewis and I will be going over it in more detail tomorrow. But let's kick it off with a quick rundown. Right, so basically, episode carries on right after we left off with Stephen and Layla fighting against some of the cultists of Harrow. Fortunately, Layla proves to be very, very competent and uses a couple of tricks to save their skins. Stephen isn't dead. Good news. Spoilers. And off they set. They manage to make it back to Harrow's camp, and they start to go through looking for supplies. Interestingly enough, there's an unusual looking weapon just laying on the ground. I wonder if that could be important. Who knows? There we go. So after working out exactly where they're going and getting some supplies, what happens next is we get to see the two lovers have a very intense emotional moment, really setting up the love triangle between Mark, Stephen and Layla, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool indeed. Mark promises to make sure that he'll throw them both off a cliff if Stephen touches a hair on Layla's head, which, well, doesn't go quite so well for him because after a brief kiss, after he's really opened up to her and let Layla know what he knows about Mark and why he's keeping the distance, they have a quick kiss, and Mark takes control just for a little bit, just to give him a reminder who's boss, whose body's in who. So they go through this ancient tomb, the tomb of Ammit, or where Ammit is, we should say. They just Mark. Stephen. Why do I call him Mark? Stephen works out that the tomb is actually like a maze in the shape of the Eye of Horus. A little bit cringe, I will say. I will say that. But on their way through, they do discover an embalming chamber. Taking a moment to take it all in and enjoy the lovely smells and seeing how it's been freshly used, they next come across I believe what they called a Heka priest. But before that, there is all these pictures of the Heka priest on the wall, having these strangely familiar looking weapons, like we kind of saw back at the camp. I wonder. So next we get the Heka priest, who basically brings in our good friend Bill, I believe, one of the cop members who was one of the cops who brought Mark in, Stephen in, and here we go. We can see the Heka priest. So he basically starts embalming and removing the organs of Bill in a very tense scene. Lots of distraction, manages from both Layla and Mark. Stephen manages to get them both free and running through this massive tomb by themselves. Now, next we do get a interesting dialogue between Layla and Harrow. After Layla's defeated another one of these Heka priests, Harrow comes clean and says, Mark was there. Mark killed your father. To which, of course, she doesn't take it too well. As you wouldn't. Fair enough. Meanwhile, Mark is going through the tomb and discovers this tomb is actually for Alexander the Great. Pharaoh of Egypt and Alexander the Great, based off the Macedonian writing, because he is the voice of Ammit. So he opens his sarcophagus and, doing his Egyptology thinking, puts his hand into Alexander the Great's mouth, apologising profusely. Mr. Great, he calls him. Pulling in, he actually pulls out the statue of Ammit, which obviously is what Harrow's after. Just after he's done that, Layla finds him in the tomb. She's a little bit pissed because, well, yeah, sure, yeah, they've won the item, but did Mark kill her dad? After a confrontation, Mark takes back over, and the truth comes out. He didn't kill the father, but he was there. His business partner got greedy. Layla was still absolutely shattered. She was distraught. Mark, before she knew him, brought the father's killer to the archaeological dig. So Mark's been rocking around as Moon Knight for a while, because he says that his business partner also shot him, which is when he would have made the deal with Khonshu to return to the land of the living. So, how long has Mark had his powers? Was he blipped out? Did this all occur during the blip? Or was it sometime between Avengers and Endgame? Hopefully we'll find out soon. But the timeline is showing that he was Moon Knight, or had the avatar of Khonshu for some time. So Mark's taken over, and right on cue, Harrow. So Harrow and his troops come in. Oh, let me just move me, because you can't really see Mark there. There we go. So Mark stood there. He grabs an axe and a shield from the sarcophagus of Alexander the Great. Harrow gives him choices. Is he going to, play along, give him Ammit, which he's actually passed on to Layla, who's started to flee. And good old Mark, he makes the right choice and starts cutting off limbs. He cuts through a whole heap of Harrow's cult army, but unfortunately the numbers are too overwhelming, and eventually Harrow shoots him. Twice in the chest. Mark falls backwards into the water, but then he wakes up. He sure does. It would appear that it was all just a dream, and Mark wakes up in an asylum. So this is some stuff that we've seen from earlier in the trailers. Now in the asylum, everything mirrors what we have already seen. The lighting is very ethereal, I would say. For example, things that mirror Mark is chained to his wheelchair. So when he tries to get up, we see that similar scene to when he tries to get out of bed, when he's in Stephen back in his London apartment and he's chained. Everyone in the asylum, we get to see Donna, we get to see Crowley, we get to see all these people who we have seen in the previous 3 episodes. Is this all real? Is it not? One thing we do discover is that one of his favourite movies was Dr. Stephen Grant was a character who was a famous archaeologist. So we get to see that in there. Get to see a bit of the movie. Pure class. Fantastic acting. Fantastic special effects in the movie within the show. We have a really interesting scene where the chief psychologist in this asylum is actually Harrow. Just trimmed his hair, grown a interesting moustache, but he's still wearing the sneakers, he's still got the cane. Mark finally manages to get away. He manages to smash some glass and take out Bill and the other police officer, who are now orderlies in the asylum, and he manages to run, he manages to get out. He hides in one room, and just before that, as he's running along, everything seems weird. It's all out of place, very matrixy. It's almost as if reality is shifting, if the whole world or the room is turning. So this gives us our first indication that I don't think we're in Cairo anymore. He runs into a room, and in there is a sarcophagus with someone trying to get out. Mark opens the lid, and lo and behold, there's Stephen. After a quick first physical meeting, so to speak, they basically start running through the corridors of the asylum, trying to find their way out. They do pass a very mysterious other sarcophagus. The sarcophagus is rumbling about as if someone else could be in there. I wonder who. I have a theory, and it ain't Lockley. Finally, they ignore that sarcophagus and keep on running towards some double doors, which suddenly start moving as if some large old person, being, God, is trying to push them open. Hospital doors. Now, this is a final spoiler warning for those who have not seen the episode. Go watch it, pause it, come back. This is where it gets good. Going into this episode, I thought the twist would be that this asylum reality was actually the real reality, and they were going to do some weird stuff. But we do get to finally meet not an avatar, it would appear, but an actual other Egyptian god, Toret, the Egyptian goddess of childbirth and luck, appears in the most incredible manner. It was perfect. I loved it. There we go. There she is. She gives a little hand wave and goes, "Hi!" Stephen and Mark are screaming. And then it's the end of the episode. 2 more episodes to go. What will happen? Who knows? Only time will tell. But absolutely fantastic episode. I will give my more detailed thoughts with Lewis tomorrow when we resume. But till then, I tell you what, I'll give you one thing. You know the guy in the third sarcophagus? Don't think it's Jake. I reckon it's Raoul Bushman. I reckon Mark actually did kill Layla's father, but it wasn't Mark. It was Raoul the Bushman. That's my theory, putting it out there, that the third personality is the killer, and that emotional trauma is what's really got to Mark, and it's why everything's so decompartmentalized and all the different personalities are going. Just a theory, no proof, no evidence, just a hunch. Alright, well, I will speak to you guys tomorrow when Lewis is available. Till then, Spooky Quacker out.